item on our agenda. It's going to be our first speaker, our President, Susan Schulz. Susan is giving a presentation on, sorry, I just lost something here. She's giving a presentation from Presentation Mastery Level 1, Evaluation and Feedback. And the title of Susan's speech is Memories. So with memories, let's welcome Susan.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. How appropriate after Jordan mentioned mine your memories. That's what I'm about to do. We're going to dig deep today because I have a Lollapalooza of a story for you. Did you know the definition of memory is the ability or the capability of our minds to capture, store, and remember? Just like a computer. So I guess we're artificial intelligence at this point. Have you thought about when your earliest memory is? How far back can you remember? I'm going to ask Rajiv, could you just mute yourself for a moment? Because we're recording, but you have the speaker role instead of me. Could you mute? Thank you.
Oh,
you need to mute, yeah. It just didn't come up. Okay, I'm not on speaker. That's okay. We'll have your video. As it turns out, most of us have memories going back a ways. What's the earliest memory that one of you have? Somebody want to shout it out? What's your earliest memory? Age? Jordan?
Walking on a beach in Jamaica in 1958.
Okay, got you beat. Not a problem. Anybody else have another early memory?
4 years old, trip to DC.
Awesome, great. Well, did you know that most people don't retain their memories from before age 3 or 4? It's a proven study. Of course, my husband, being the unique individual that he is, his very first speech in Toastmasters was the humorous speech contest for our club. And he gave the speech about before he was born. So his memory really goes back pretty far. He told us everything that he experienced in utero and being birthed. And he had so many different laughs through that. I was nearly wetting my pants, and I hadn't heard it rehearsed. It's a good thing because it was new for me. What laughter that he gained. I could never hope to find that kind of funny in me. However, I'm still searching for it. That's why I'm here in this club. Well, there's a study that proves that most of us don't have our memories in the early years because we suffered from something called amnesia. Did you know we get childhood amnesia? We don't have to wait until Alzheimer's for it. We've already experienced it. Most people can't remember things that happened before they went to school. We start to gather those in 5 to 6, 7 years old, but very few. But I have one. I experienced it, and I don't know my exact age, but I'm surmising it was about 18 months old. And that's not an exaggeration. You see, we moved into our new house when I was 3, and this was an entire season before that. So 2.5 maybe, but I think 18 months is when it was. It was the fall. We were living in a house with someone else, a friend. It was a farmhouse. They invited us to stay until our house was finished being built. So we lived in this upstairs apartment. And I remember walking around at 18 months old with an older gentleman who lived there. He might have been 8 or 9. And we were out raking the leaves. You see, we were raking the leaves, and I remember how big that rake seemed for me, because I was a tiny little tyke at 18 months old. Now, I really can't verify this with my parents because, well, they've gone on to their rest and they didn't even know about this immediately because they weren't in the room or outside where I was. So I told them the story, but then they got the tail end. So here we go. I'm out there raking and raking and raking, and all of a sudden the rake hits something. And I looked up. Was it a branch? No, I'm not tall enough to reach the trees. Something hit and it moved. Well, keep raking, keep raking. Well, after we piled this giant pile of leaves, I had the brilliant idea. Why don't we just have fun and jump into the leaves? Won't that be fun? We did that up north. We don't get that too much down here in Florida. But up north, we would pile the leaves in and jump in. Well, I went to jump in and I found out what the bump was. You see, I hit a wasp's nest or a bee's nest, and they started swarming all over me. And I found myself not understanding what was going on. Just I felt like I was on fire. And I was running back to the house. And I'm like, ah, I'm on fire, I'm on fire. And they're trying to figure out what's going on. My mother immediately realizes what went on. And she says to me, Susie, go upstairs and put your swimsuit on. Now, I might be 18 months old, but I'm thinking to myself, is she crazy? It's fall. It's cold outside. And why do I need a swimsuit? So I said to Mama, Mommy, why? And she said, never mind, just do it. Quick, quick, quick. So I go running upstairs. I get my swimsuit on like the big girl that I am. I came downstairs and Mama says to me, come here, darling, grabs me, hugs me tight, and threw me in the pigsty. Now, I don't like being dirty. My hands being dirty would make me cry. You can't imagine what being in the pigsty out in Smithtown, New York, what that felt like. Oh my goodness, stinky, stinky. But it put the fire out. So from that point on, I promised that I would always allow my children to play in the mud because it's good for you. Now, my son did have a propensity to eat it like it was pudding. I wasn't a big fan of that, but memories that they are, it warms my heart. Now, as we get older, of course, our memories start to fail. And it's not just Alzheimer's. We could be tired. We can be stressed. Who isn't stressed? Or we could just be getting older. And as I am reaching my 7th decade, and I'm not exaggerating, oh gosh, I am in my almost, yeah, never mind. I'm so old. But I have good news for you. Even if your memory starts to fail, you can retain your memory. You see, you have this ability. You can take classes in foreign languages, Duolingo I go, and you can take art classes, or you can come to Toastmasters clubs and try to give a speech by memory. This is one of the first I've given by memory without a presentation PowerPoint for a long time. I guess I must have forgotten to do it for this speech, but that's okay. We will just know that Toastmasters can help you retain your memories. Keep mining the memories. They're all good for you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Awesome, Susan. Your household seems to be full of Lollapaloozas. Memories, yeah. I would love to. I have reverse problem with memories. There are things that I would love to forget, which I don't forget. Like borrowing some money from someone and just forgetting about it. But unfortunately, I don't forget. I would invite now Vanessa to facilitate the evaluations. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajiv and Susan, for a wonderful speech. We have 30 seconds, as well as the pathways evaluation, written pathways evaluation. We have 30 seconds for a few speakers, a few people to give their feedback to Susan's speech, in particular on the humour aspect, but whatever they feel was really good or could be improved. I'd like to call on Stephanie and Jordan, Linda and Koki. If they're all agreeable, could we have Stephanie first, please?
Certainly. Elizabeth, that is so entertaining, and I love your voice. I could listen to you for hours. My only suggestion is pace yourself so you don't have to rush your ending. Your ending sums up what you've been saying, and it's so important. It should be given the same emphasis as the entire speech. That's my suggestion.
Thank you, Stephanie. Jordan, would you like to say something?
Susan, by the way, you and Sue Lighthoff have great legal names, Sue. So I love the speech. I love these personal stories. I would tweak it this way. Give your mom, give your son their own voices. And you kind of did that, but I'd exaggerated it. No, dear, you got and your son, who I mentioned, now you've got the dirt on him, but he's a little boy and you're the mom now, have him give you the little boy voice. Great job. Done.
Thank you. Thank you. Linda.
Hi, Susan. Yes, I enjoyed it very much. I found it humorous, but with a message of hope, too. There's one thing that popped in my mind was you talked about memories failing. And I think they fade as we get older. They don't fail. And it would just be a more positive or less negative word in your journey.
Thank you. And Koki.
Yes, I say it was really great choice of the topic. I mean, I have heard many speeches, but come to think of, there's not many speech about testing your memory. And, as we all get old, and once you start to reach 50s, it's harder to remember the names. And, sometimes you remember what happened 20 years ago more than what happened last month. And I truly enjoyed, and I start to think of what was my first memory and everything else, and it was my 3 years younger sister's birth. That's as far as I can get back, which is make me 3 years old. So she's right. I cannot remember anything prior to that. So the memory is important, and it's harder to retain. But as far as the advice, like Jordan said, you could have give a little more vocal variety for the character, and that would make more story interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Koki. Yes, I think the mining your memories, I think, is a great idea. I'm going to work on that. Back to you.